Hello world, Cozzy here with this week's roundup of Geek Movie news, starting off this week with ABC's, aka Jessica Jones. Now it's been confirmed that the series will be firmly set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that the main characters of the series, and especially of the pilot, will be Jessica Jones herself, Luke Cage and Carol Danvers, and that no other characters yet have been mentioned. Now, Melissa Rosenberg, who is of course writing and producing this series, has stated that there will be mention of other characters like Tony Stark in the pilot, and that further down the line there will be more Marvel characters from the comic books appearing, but that certain characters can't even be alluded to. Now, in case you don't know why that is, some characters, their rights are owned by other studios. Now, for example, Sony own the right to Spider-Man and Fox own the right to the X-Men, so those characters can't even be mentioned in this TV series. Okay, that's a bit of a negative, but we're going to see a series set within this cinematic universe with the chance of seeing the characters from the movies appearing, seeing other characters get a test audience on a TV series, and if this means that we get the chance to see Ant-Man or Luke Cage before they hit the big screen, and I'm just saying this right now, Marvel, I want to see a Luke Cage movie, and I'm sure a lot of people do, then it's a good thing all round, and let's hope this gets a fall 2012 premiere. News from Universal Pictures this week, and that is that they are trying to revive another animated star of the past in the form of Woody Woodpecker. Now, for those of you who don't know, Universal actually bought the rights and back catalogue to the character in 1985. They haven't done a great deal with it ever since, but now they're looking to make a big screen adaptation of Woody Woodpecker for the modern audience. Now, to do this, they're using their in-house animation production studio, which is called Illumination Entertainment. They were the guys behind Despicable Me, which, if you haven't seen, is a very, very, very funny animated movie, and I do highly recommend it. So yeah, they're going to be in charge of making this Woody Woodpecker film. And they've gone ahead and they're trying to sign the screenwriters to the sports comedy Blades of Glory, a great film in its own right. They're trying to sign the screenwriters of that movie, John Alschuler and Dave Krinsky, to helm the script for Woody Woodpecker. Now, hopefully we can get a really quirky script, very funny script from these two guys, in a similar vein to some of the movies, like I mentioned, Blades of Glory, they've worked on in the past, without removing any of the charm of what is undoubtedly a fantastic animated character. NBC has officially given Bryan Fuller the go-ahead to make a reboot series of the Munsters. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Munsters, it was a comedy series in the 60s. It had a remake of sorts in the late 80s and early 90s. It was based around a family made up of sort of horror characters. There was a Frankenstein's monster father, there was a vampire mother, and they had a son who was a werewolf. So yeah, it was a very, very funny series. I have fond memories of it from growing up, and if you haven't seen it, then I do recommend you try and get hold of it and have a watch, see what you think. But NBC, yeah, they're going ahead with a remake or a reboot of sorts of this series. Now, Bryan Fuller had a pilot rejected by NBC bigwigs about a year ago, and due to a regime change within the network, he's now been given the go-ahead to actually make this rebooted series. I look forward to seeing what he can do with it. It's a concept that has worked in the past, I'm sure will work again, and he's going to be a busy boy working on both this and the Hannibal TV series, both of which coming out on NBC sometime in the future. Despite recent reports, it seems that Ezra Miller has no interest in appearing in Akira. Now, he's stated this week in an interview with Moviefone that, yeah, he is a big fan of the original anime and the original manga, but it's not where he sees his career going in the near future. So he will not be taking the role of Tetsu, it seems. And that's led to Warner Brothers actually lining up a series of people to actually test screen for this character. Now, this is a fairly long list. I'm just going to read it to you. Apparently, those involved in these screenings will be DJ Catrona, Logan Marshall Green, Toby Kebbell, Richard Madden, Rami Malek, Michael Pitt, Paul Dano, and, as mentioned last week, Alden Einrich. So a lot of names that have been put forward for test screenings, so maybe we shouldn't really expect this role to be filled anytime soon, but once I know, as always, I'll pass the information on to you guys. One role that does seem to have been filled, or will be very soon if reports are accurate, is the role of Kai. Now, I mentioned a couple of weeks back that Keira Knightley had been offered this role, but she's not the front runner anymore. Another actress has been offered the role of Kai in the Akira Hollywood remake, and that actress is, unfortunately, Kristen Stewart of Twilight fame. Yes, she has been offered the role of the main female lead in the Akira movie, the love interest for the main character, and yeah, who knows if she takes it. Are we finally going to see some acting ability, more than one facial expression? Maybe she won't huff before every single sentence she mutters. Maybe she won't even touch her hair. I very much doubt it. More casting rumours this week, this time for Lionsgate's I, Frankenstein. Now apparently, according to Variety, Bill Nighy has been offered the role of the main villain in this movie. Now this villain character, if he does accept it, is a demon prince who, working with another demon who's going to be played by Australian actor Socrates Otto, is looking to find Frankenstein's monster in the modern day. And the reason that they wanted to find him is so that they can learn the secrets of reanimating corpses for their own evil devices. Yeah, every time I hear more about this movie, I get more and more interested. I think it's a great concept. I think that they've already got some good actors lined up or signed up, because obviously Aaron Eckhart is going to be playing the role of the Frankenstein monster, and it could be a really good one to watch out for. So let's hope that Bill Nighy is involved and that this is a great movie. Tim Burton is in early negotiations with Fox about directing the movie of the novel Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Now, the novel was Ransom Riggs' debut novel, was published in July, and it was basically a series of prose and photographs telling the story of a 16-year-old boy called Jacob, who, after a tragic family incident, he moves to a remote island off the coast of Wales. When he gets there, he finds the ruins, the remnants of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which he discovers might be more peculiar than you think, and the children there might have been quarantined because they were dangerous. For me, this sounds like a perfect project for Tim Burton. He loves quirky projects. We've seen it throughout his career, and it's what he excels at. And maybe if he gets this and does it properly, maybe we'll see that lovely Beetlejuice sequel fast-tracked finally. That's what we're really waiting for, Tim. Come on. According to Trek Movie, filming of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek sequel will start in January. Actually, on the 15th of January, to be precise. Now, the site actually goes on to say that Abrams has been scouting locations himself. He's been looking at some locations in Hawaii to feature as a jungle planet, and also a famous Los Angeles museum to represent a famous location in the Star Trek universe. So, all sounds good so far. It's also admitted that pre-production and special effects work has already begun with Industrial Light and Magic. So, don't be surprised if you see this sequel hitting cinemas either Christmas period of 2012 or very early in 2013. Although Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, the Superman reboot movie that I've spoken so much about since I started Geek Movie News, will not be hitting our cinema screens until June of 2013. Warner Brothers apparently are already eyeing a sequel. A lot of news websites are reporting that studio executives have been really pleased and excited by what they've seen in the production of this first movie, so much so that they're actually looking to shortlist some writers for a sequel. Now, a number of writers have been mentioned. There's 3 main names that keep popping up. Those names are Steve Kloves, Travis Beacham and Lawrence Kasdan. This, to me, is a good sign. I mean, if Warner Brothers are truly behind the Superman project and think that they've got a movie that's going to do well, they're already planning for some sequels, then maybe it's not quite as bad as everyone fears when they see the costume and hear the information about trying to make this character more relatable. I hope, and I keep saying this, that Warner Brothers can do to Superman what they did to Batman with Dark Knight movies, and I know that Christopher Nolan is involved obviously with all of these new comic book adaptations for DC Comics and Warner Brothers. So yeah, fingers crossed this is a good sign, and that we not only see a fantastic movie in 2013, but it spins off a whole series, a new generation of Superman movies. More news this week on Warner Brothers' big budget, big screen adaptation of The Man From U.N.C.L.E, and that is that Channing Tatum has apparently been offered the leading role. Now, this is a role that's been turned down by George Clooney, by Johnny Depp, by Bradley Cooper, but I think Tatum could be an inspired choice by Warner Brothers. Firstly, he is no stranger to action flicks. Secondly, he's young. That means he could appear in numerous sequels if this is a success at the box office. It could be a really good casting. Unfortunately, it seems like this movie really can't catch a break because Steven Soderbergh, the director, has left the project. Now, various websites are stating that this is because of some problems with the casting and also some problems with Warner Brothers over the budget of this movie. Whatever it is, Soderbergh's walked away, leaves this movie directorless. It's meant to go into production in March. They need to find a new director pretty quick, or we're not going to see The Man From U.N.C.L.E on the big screen. Disney is looking at remaking Oscar-winning 1954 classic movie 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They're very serious about this project. So serious that they've already signed up David Fincher to direct it, and they're hoping to re-team him with Seven screenwriter Andrew Kevin Walker. Now, if they like the screenplay that Walker presents them, it will no doubt in my mind go into production fairly quickly, despite the fact that Fincher is, as always, a very in-demand and busy man. Disney want this made and they want it out there as soon as possible, despite the fact, in my eyes, the original is an absolute classic. It won 3 Oscars. It's a fantastic movie and we don't need a remake. Disney see light of making a remake to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Heat Visions reports this week that classic video game Rampage is going to get the big screen, big budget Hollywood treatment. Now, New Line Cinema are involved in making this movie. They've confirmed that John Rickard is going to produce and that they're currently looking for screenwriters and directors. Interesting prospect here. I mean, a giant monster movie. Another one with the likes of Godzilla and Pacific Rim on the way. As long as this doesn't lose the humour from the original video game, this could be a fantastic, fantastic property to make into a movie. And like Asteroids last week, it's a video game that doesn't have a great deal of plot, so it would be interesting to see what screenwriters can come up with. Some news this week on a property I haven't spoken about for quite some time, and that is Powers. Now, FX ordered a pilot episode of this proposed Powers series. For those of you who don't know, Powers is a comic book series based in a universe where there was special police that deals with crimes involving those who have superpowers. And FX have asked for a reshoot of some of the scenes to add greater tone and clarity to the storyline of the pilot. This for me is not a bad thing, and also not for Brian Michael Bendis, the original writer of the comic book, who's actually come out and stated that it's a good thing, and it shows that Fox, not only who've thrown a lot of money into the pilot episode originally, are willing to throw more money in again to make it a clearer and better pilot, and hopefully clearer and better series. Now, for those of you who think maybe it's a bad thing, they did a similar thing with the pilot to Sons of Anarchy, which has been a massive success, not just in the States but worldwide. So hopefully the same can be said for Powers. The fact that also FX has dropped the other pilot episode for a new series that they ordered, and that series was called Outlaw Country. Yet they ordered that pilot, they weren't impressed, they've dropped it, and they're focusing purely on Powers as their new drama. It's all good signs. I'm looking forward to see what they can do with it. Before they do, obviously, I always say this, go out, grab hold of maybe just the first volume or 2 of the comic book, get familiar with the story, get familiar with the characters, and then just wait and see what the TV show is really like. Genre Productions are looking at adapting Zenescope Entertainment's comic book, The Monster Hunter's Survival Guide, for the big screen. Now, little is known at the moment about who might write the screenplay or who might direct the movie. What is known is that there is a major name who's been linked to being the star of this movie, and that major name is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, he is no stranger to action movies. I think he could be a perfect choice for this movie. Let's just wait and see. Once there's more news on the project, as always guys, I'll let you know. Various sources online are stating that David Dobkin's take on Arthurian legend have picked up two leading men in the form of Kit Harington and Joel Kinnaman. Now, for those of you who don't know, this film is going to be called Arthur and Lancelot, and it depicts Arthur as an illegitimate son raised by a poor knight in a village who will grow up to be the ruler of England, and Lancelot, on the other hand, is a sort of rebellious noble with a distrust of the government. The film's seen by the producers and by the studio as being the first in a series of movies with a lot of possible sequel plots already being discussed. So yeah, let's hope it's a good one. It's been a long time since we've seen a decent movie based on Arthurian legends. The big screen version of Orson Scott Card's classic sci-fi novel Ender's Game is one step closer to realisation, according to Deadline. Now, director of the movie Gavin Hood has been confirmed as being a firm director, and the main role of Andrew Ender Wiggins has been offered to young Asa Butterfield, who we'll all get to see in Martin Scorsese's Hugo in the next couple of weeks, due for release start of December. Now, Summit Entertainment, who are involved with this movie, they think that this is going to be the next big movie franchise, replacing the likes of Twilight and Harry Potter. And there's plenty of material to work with. There's already 11 books. There's 2 more books in the series that are due to be released, as well as 2 more comic book mini-series. So if this is successful, expect to see a lot of movies based on this character coming out in the very near future. Finally this week, some major news on Arrested Development. Now, as I stated a couple of weeks back, the Arrested Development series and movie are going to go into production. Fox is firmly behind the project, but will not appear on any Fox network. Instead, the TV series is going to be distributed exclusively online through American company Netflix. Now, no mention of how it's going to be distributed in Europe or the rest of the world, but in the USA, it will not be on a major TV network, it will be on Netflix. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care who has it, just make it and get it out there. I love Arrested Development. I own all 3 seasons on DVD, I watch them all the time, I just want to see more Arrested Development, and yeah, that's my opinion. Keep up the good work, Michael Horowitz and Fox, and get Arrested Development on our screens, or computer screens at least, as soon as you can. Right guys, that's all for this week. As always, if you like this video, like button is just down there, you click it, you tell me you liked it. If you missed last week's Geek Movie News, there's a little link there, you can click out and you can watch it. Maybe you missed my last Geek Movie review, it's just there, you can click that out, watch that as well. Spend some quality time with your old friend Cozzy. If you're not subscribed to my channel, this ugly mug, you click on it, you subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to leave a comment, comment boxes are down there, you leave a comment, I reply, it's all fun. Maybe you found something that I haven't mentioned, I should mention next week, that's where you tell me about it guys. If you aren't a fan of me on Facebook and Twitter, you open the description box, there's links there, you click on them, you find out what's going on in the world of Geek Movies, in the world of Cozzy, and in the world of this channel. As always guys, thanks for watching and au revoir.